3 days before what Lee Anderson has called the most important by-election of his lifetime, Reform sent their big gun to Makerfield. No, not Farage this time. Lee Anderson, the man who left Conservatives for Reform UK Limited, who said Sadiq Khan had handed London over to Islamists, who told food bank users they just needed to learn how to cook. That's right, Reform's attack dog, and he spent the day with their candidate, Rob Kenyon. He was putting up posters, making bacon sandwiches, and just generally having a lovely time.
So Rob, I've spent most of the day with you today, been around the community, around your constituency, putting up posters, garden stakes, talking to people.
Now, in theory, this video exists to make a case for Rob Kenyon. He's a plumber, he's a former army reservist, ordinary working man, the anti-politician. I mean, that's the pitch. That's why Anderson flew up there, to hand the spotlight to the candidate. And here's how that went.
Becoming an MP was one of the proudest moments of my life, if I'm honest with you. When I get to represent the area that I was born in, that I grew up in, I went to school in, my kids were born at the local hospital, the same hospital that I was born at.
Yeah, okay, so that's Lee Anderson talking about Lee Anderson's constituency, Lee Anderson's proudest moment, Lee Anderson's kids. Now, Rob Kenyon is sitting right next to him, presumably wondering when the bit about Rob Kenyon starts. I mean, to be fair, he does get a question. Anderson asks him what his priorities would be as an MP. It's a big moment. It's the 3 days out from the election, the cameras are rolling, the whole picture's distilled into one answer. Is it going to be HMOs, the jobs, the hospitals, the high street that's been hollowing out for 20 years? Something tangible, something that tells you that Kenyon actually knows his constituency and actually has a plan to make people's lives better in that area.
But if you get elected, Rob, what are going to be your priorities for this area?
My priority is going to be listening to people.
I'm sorry, what?
My priority is going to be listening to people, because I do think the people around here in Makerfield, I say in the country as well, they've never been listened to.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that's what you said. His priority is going to be listening, not doing or fixing or proposing a single concrete thing that a single person in Makerfield could, just have something to say, look, here we are. This is what I've done to make your life better. He's just going to be present. I suppose he doesn't even have to be in the same room, because Reform's candidate for the most important by-election of Lee Anderson's lifetime will, if elected, just need to hear things. Which I suppose would actually be a step up, because Rob Kenyon was elected in Wigan's council in May. One formal meeting's been scheduled since then, and he's already sent his apologies. I mean, if he can't be bothered to listen now, I assume, presumably, he'll get round to it once it really counts. And Anderson doesn't follow up. He doesn't ask what Kenyon would actually do after he's finished listening. He just pivots immediately to Reform's membership numbers.
I joined Reform just over 2 years ago, and we had maybe 12,000 members, just me as an MP, just a handful of councillors.
Yeah.
And then you fast forward 2.5 years, nearly 2.5 years, we've got 8 MPs, soon to be 9, by the way.
8 MPs, soon to be 9, very confident. Also note whose story that is. At this point, you might be wondering whether Rob Kenyon has actually any views of his own, or whether he's mainly there just to operate the grill. And then they get to immigration.
Well, HMOs are massive around here, massive issue. The Northwest is one of the biggest, what I'd call probably a dumping ground for HMOs in the country. You get, you lose your pub and you gain 12 people from the country that, they might mean you harm. They might be searching for a better life, who knows, but
I don't want them here.
you don't want to take that risk, because you don't know what the backgrounds are.
I don't want illegal migrants in my country, Rob, and don't ever be afraid to say that.
No.
And there it is. Don't ever be afraid to say that. Anderson isn't campaigning for Kenyon here. It's just a coaching session. This is how Reform's immigration rhetoric works in practice. Pub closes, investors move in, 12 people arrive. You don't know what backgrounds they are. And within 30 seconds, you've connected HMOs to illegal migration to crime risk without ever being asked to justify a single step in between. And then Anderson even goes even further.
Where we've actually imported, third world cultures, with, not very nice attitudes towards women and girls. And then, surprise, surprise, they go and sexually attack or rape in some cases our young women and girls. and then politicians sit there scratching their heads thinking, why has this happened?
I mean, that was said with complete confidence. Not a candidate being led somewhere uncomfortable, a man entirely at home. No qualification, no evidence, no acknowledgement that he's just attributed the sexual assault of women and girls to the cultures of an entire countries. It's not even a dog whistle, it's just a foghorn. And that is the closing argument of a campaign visit 3 days before polling. And then they make bacon sandwiches.
We're not going to have red, are we?
No, definitely not.
That's just give Andy Burnham any ideas, do we?
Brown sauce. It has to be brown sauce because red would give the wrong ideas. I mean, it's pretty pathetic, isn't it? Two men performing for a camera crew, with one of them carefully managing the condiment optics. I mean, Lee Anderson, the straight talker, no nonsense, tells it how it is, making sure nobody clocks they've got the wrong sauce. I suppose if he had his way, he'd probably have some kind of turquoise sauce to go on it. But don't worry, Anderson's pearls of wisdom still hasn't finished yet. Right at the end, he delivers his verdict at what's at stake.
I think this by-election in Makerfield is the most important by-election in my lifetime. And I think the result could well shape the future of British politics in this country. It could change everything. A bit like, back in the 80s, I think the miners' strike changed a lot. I think the Falklands War, that definitely changed the political landscape. I think this by-election now, if you can beat Andy Burnham, it gives us a good chance of winning the next general election, which I think we can do. But more importantly, it could see the death of the Labour Party.
The most important by-election of his lifetime. Could change everything, could spell the death of Labour in the Red Wall. And Reform's closing argument, their big pitch 3 days away from election day, was Lee Anderson talking about his own background, coaching their candidate on immigration rhetoric, and making sure nobody picked the wrong source. Rob Kenyon will listen to people. Well, I mean, that's what he said. He's already been elected to something and can't make meetings, so once he's in Parliament, I suppose that's when the listening really starts. Whatever happens on Thursday, at least we know that Lee Anderson's kids were born in the same hospital as Lee Anderson. It's very important information, and I'm sure it'll help the voters of Makerfield decide on who to vote for.